In the heart of Mexico, a powerful empire once flourished. The Aztecs, with their magnificent city of Tenochtitlan, dominated the region. Their civilization was a marvel of engineering and culture, but their world was about to change forever. In 1519, a Spanish conquistador named Hernán Cortés arrived on their shores. Cortés, driven by ambition and gold, marched inland with his small army. The Aztecs, initially hesitant, welcomed Cortés. They believed he might be a returning god. Cortés exploited their beliefs, taking their emperor Montezuma hostage. The Spanish, with their superior weaponry and alliances with rival tribes, gained a foothold. In 1521, after a brutal siege, Tenochtitlan fell. The once mighty Aztec empire lay in ruins. The Spanish conquest was a turning point in history. It marked the beginning of Spanish rule in the Americas. On the ruins of Tenochtitlan, a new city arose, Mexico City. This would be the heart of a vast new colony, New Spain. The land, rich in resources and potential, would be forever altered under Spanish influence. New Spain became a jewel in the Spanish crown. Vast silver deposits in Zacatecas and Potosi transformed the colony's economy. Silver mined with indigenous labor fueled Spain's rise as a European power. The Spanish crown established a complex administration system. Viceroys, the king's representatives, held immense power. The encomienda system rewarded conquistadors with land and labor. Spaniards were granted land and indigenous labor. Encomenderos were to protect and Christianize the indigenous population. The system often led to exploitation and abuse. Wealth from New Spain came at a heavy human cost. The indigenous population declined dramatically due to labor and disease. The Spanish crown attempted reforms, but the lure of riches overshadowed these efforts. New Spain's economy was built on silver and indigenous labor, bringing wealth and suffering. Spanish colonial society was rigidly hierarchical. At the top were the peninsulares, those born in Spain. They held the most power and privilege, dominating government and the church. Below them were the criollos, people of Spanish descent born in the Americas. While often wealthy and educated, they were excluded from the highest positions of power. This created resentment that would later fuel independence movements. Lower down were the mestizos of mixed Spanish and indigenous ancestry. Their growing numbers reflected the complex racial dynamics of the colony. At the bottom were the indigenous people. Despite their exploitation, they remained a vital part of colonial society, providing labor and preserving elements of their ancient cultures. Life in New Spain was a blend of Spanish and indigenous influences. The Spanish established cities, universities, and grand churches, bringing their language, laws, and religion to the Americas. Christianity, often imposed through forced conversions, had a profound impact on indigenous beliefs and practices. Yet, elements of indigenous culture persisted, often blending with Spanish traditions. This fusion created a unique and vibrant cultural tapestry. Section 4. A clash of cultures. The arrival of the Spanish brought dramatic changes to the religious landscape of Mesoamerica. Catholic missionaries, often accompanying conquistadors, embarked on a campaign to convert the indigenous population. They built churches, translated religious texts, and established schools to teach Christian doctrine. The indigenous people, accustomed to their own polytheistic beliefs and rituals, often resisted these efforts. The Spanish, viewing indigenous practices as idolatry, destroyed temples and religious artifacts. They sought to replace ancient beliefs with Christianity, sometimes through coercion and force. Despite the suppression, many indigenous people preserved elements of their faiths. They incorporated Christian saints into their pantheon or practiced their rituals in secret. This syncretism, a blending of beliefs, shaped the religious landscape of New Spain. The clash of cultures had a profound impact on indigenous societies. Many traditional ways of life were disrupted and communities were torn apart by forced labor and disease. Yet the indigenous people demonstrated resilience. They adapted to the new realities, preserving their languages, stories, and artistic traditions. Their legacy lived on in the faces and cultures of their descendants, a testament to their enduring spirit. Section 5. The Seeds of Rebellion and the Legacy of New Spain. By the late 18th century, discontent with Spanish rule simmered throughout New Spain. The criollos embraced Enlightenment ideals of self-governance. The American and French revolutions inspired them. In 1810, Miguel Hidalgo ignited rebellion with the Grito de Dolores. His call resonated with the oppressed. Indigenous peasants, mestizos and criollos joined the fight. The rebellion marked a turning point. It led to the Mexican War of Independence. In 1821, New Spain achieved independence. The legacy of Spanish rule continued to shape Mexico. The country inherited a language, legal system and religion. Social and economic disparities persisted, yet Mexico emerged with a unique cultural identity. The story of New Spain reminds us of colonialism's lasting impact. Like and subscribe to Emgotv for more stories.